All right, we are on. So, hi. Um, I didn't have anything like prepared to speak about, but I just felt like I wanted to speak about something. Like, I guess I felt like there were things that could rise to the surface that could be cool that would come up. I guess, so starting out, I really enjoy watching things about the, I guess I enjoy watching videos about twin flame stuff, mainly on YouTube. I don't really think there are any other resources that I use, for twin flame stuff. Like I used to read some articles, I guess when I was just starting out, but mainly those things were like general synopsises or synopsi of like ascension things. So going on with twin flame stuff, I enjoy the videos because it's kind of like it's like being a part of a community, but even more so it's kind of like watching a story or reading a story, but there are like real people involved. I guess I just am a sucker for a love story, and I like metaphysical things. I like to see what people's takes are about these things. What I've noticed is that not a lot of stuff applies to me. I mean, I guess it could, but some of it is so general and repetitive that it seems to apply to everybody or nobody or specific people. It's just kind of how you take it. So, and that's cool. I'm sure there's somebody out there that it's like completely 100% like fitting for. But I've noticed that a lot of it doesn't apply to me, I guess, or to us. I guess what it is that some of it goes into like the cycles, like the same cycles of twin flame stuff. So I just kind of let it go. Yeah, so, but I still enjoy watching it though, and other things are just, I guess, not aligned with my core knowledge. And, you know, I'm speaking in this video like, I guess first person, but it can be very applicable to whoever. Maybe this style of speaking is reaching someone. So, I think as time goes on, you kind of like get more comfortable about like knowing, I guess, who you are and the way that you operate. And, besides God, your biggest help is your twin flame, your other, half. And so when, I guess, getting to a point where you kind of see the way that you guys are, especially together, you can get a better understanding about what's up, like overall, like what may be coming up, your timelines, like as far as like things that are happening or things that you want to have happen. And, I wouldn't really say individually anymore. I personally have to, like, forget about that part of my vocabulary, because I know that there isn't any singularity anymore. And I'm good with that. Like, I think another thing I wanted to talk about is like, I'm just thankful for my twin flame, for my significant other, I guess you can say. Because, like, I know that we're more than twin flames. I know that there's a lot going on, I know that it's very complex, and the more I learn, the more I'm like, wow, this is great, Not the coffee, but the situation. The coffee's pretty good. Been really wanting some coffee lately, even though I know it is like, rah, but I just love coffee. So, but, like, I'm just really happy about our situation, because I enjoy growth, and I enjoy learning things, especially, like, at a pace that is good for, I would say, how I am, but how we are. And that, what I mean by that is that I'm happy to have somebody to learn things with, whose opinion I really appreciate, whose spirit is just like, wow. And I don't mean to make like a woman figure situation, but it's more like, that's my, like, flow, like, but, I just enjoy having a partner, and I am hoping that it's the same for him, like, enjoying learning and growing and being able to do it, like, together, like, alongside somebody who you can fully trust, who you enjoy trusting, who you love and adore, and look forward to, like, hearing, look forward to hearing from, and look forward to seeing what they're interested in, like, at a particular point in time. Like, just basically, like, the ultimate awesome person, awesome spirit, awesome being. And, you have that person to go through life, all of life, all of the lives with. I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't want it any other way. And I will say, like, there's, from what I see, one thing I do get in the community, sorry, I have an itchy shoulder right now. It's gone, but I had to. But, I noticed, like, when I was more involved in, like, Facebook groups and stuff that were about twin flames, I noticed that there were a lot of people, at least the people who were the most vocal, and in Facebook terms that means most visual, meaning in their writing, were the ones that were having, like, issues with their twin, like, I guess, communicating with them, or being around, or being in union. For some of those situations, I question whether this person is your twin flame at all. And if you know that they are, which is, like, equal, like, not saying that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that, oh, well, they're probably not, and, this and that, but, like, if you know that they are, and they are, that's just that. And if you guys are still having, like, communication situational problems, then, there's still stuff you can do on your end until, like, they come around. And that takes a big amount of devotion, but it's worth the wait. And why would you want it any other way? Like, You know what I'm saying? Like, from my experience, the wait can be long and trying. And, but if you know in your heart, then it's just like a faith thing. And that's way easier said than done, for sure. Um, like in my faith, like Christianity, that's one place that I have, challenges, of course. And, with my twin flame, you know, I didn't have to be on that side of the coin, but I did uh, learn about how that situation would be. And on my side, like, I hadn't woken up yet, and it wasn't until I went through trying, it was in the process of choosing to be free from a lot of like things and basically situations, like letting go, like connections to any people who weren't serving me well. During that decision, it was like a hard decision. Not like hard, like difficult, but it was like straight beeline, like just straight to the left, straight out of that situation. Like, that's it. There's no other choice. I'm out of this camp. I'm going to do anything I need to do to just exit this situation in like the best way possible. And that decision was easy. It was a long time in the process because at first it was a divorce. And so at first, I thought it was going to be relatively easy. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I stopped working, a couple times. But I basically stopped everything associated with a career. The only time that I went back to work was like in a restaurant. But any career stuff was like stopped. And that was the only time that I ever went back to like work. But like, when you're leaving, it's like, okay, I need a career now. I didn't want my boys to be like babysat or in daycare. So I was trying to find like this solution where like I could just earn enough, didn't want any, like alimony or whatever it's called. Like, I just wanted to be out. Like, I even remember saying like, I live in the same neighborhood. I just don't want to be around you. But I wanted to make everything easy for everybody because I know that the boys love their dad. And that was all I was concerned with as far as that end. Otherwise, I was like, I'm out of this bitch. Like, this is crazy. This was crazy years ago. At first, I didn't think that it was crazy, even though it was. Basically, I just, got into like a bad situation, a good situation because, of my boys, and that's awesome. I wouldn't want there to be any pain, associated with the time that it took for me to like wake up. But the boys are awesome, so no changing that. But the situation was bad, and so it wasn't until like 3 years in that I was like, yo, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm super done. And like, I thought divorces were going to be easier. I thought making money was going to be easier. But when I made the hard decision, like not difficult, but when I made the concrete decision, like this is happening, I'm not gonna be here. This isn't happening. Like it was when those things started happening. When I made that decision to be completely like outie, it was just like then I started becoming connected. I started to hear things like, not like, but like, I just started getting clarity, man. And when your mind is clear, like, you just start having awarenesses of the truth. And so, people who are in this, twin flame situation, and ish may seem a little rocky, as the person who created some rocks, for sure, I'm super thankful that he hung in there. I always knew that there was somebody like perfect like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew when I was little, and I would have these dreams of this person. He didn't have a face, but I knew how he like felt, like his aura, like his presence, his spirit. Like I knew that part, like I just knew. So, and I guess I got pissed off in life, like this is, like where is this person? It's just, you know what I'm saying? Like this feeling in this dream has never come into fruition. And that kind of as a person, as a twin flame, got me in situations where I was just wasting my time, like but I didn't know about, like I had ideas about the metaphysical. I had this book about transcendental astral projection, and there's this little black book with these like weird arts on the front, and my dad was like, that's witchcraft. And I'm like 15 at home, so I kind of like let it go because I'm gonna be hearing some ish, but then as years go on, like I never lost curiosity for like the spiritual realm, and as time went on, like I had more associations, I guess, with it. And then I just kind of like, I made a friend, and she was telling me about her twin flame. And I was like, a twin flame, what is that? And she was telling me about it. And then that started like that part that I was mentioning earlier in this video about like, I would read articles. I was just trying to figure it out. And then the articles led me to like things about ascension and meditation and, your pineal. A lot of it had to do with like pineal activation, like around that time. Because when I was in that situation, what I was doing, I started meditating a lot. And I was in a vow of silence at the time. Like, I'm not even joking, a vow of silence in my own house. That's the level of stupidity, no exaggeration. And that led to like more abuse, you know what I'm saying? Because when stupid people are ignored and not responded to, they get angrier. But I would just sit and meditate. Like I would watch the sun set, I would watch it rise. I would listen to like binaural beats. I changed my diet. Like I just followed all the steps that I needed to take, to at least get my mind right. Because in this situation, I was like, I need an answer. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to be able to pay for a place, moving, a divorce. I need to go to court because I just want to have like at least 50-50 custody with my boys. Like I just wanted it set up so the boys would have a cool situation that was easy for them, and I could be completely divorced and single, kind of single, because that's around the time that I met my twin flame, but just done with that, like, okay, that's, whatever, I'm done. Don't want to talk to you, don't want to have any beef, don't want any money, just want to have the boys have a cool time, just have everything go through the courts so we don't have to correspond, because you know what I'm saying, like dealing with the courts in this situation is like the ideal approach. You feel me? And so, because there is no communication on that situation, like there's no human on that end, and that's cool. So I was just like, okay, let's just do this. But then that led to like truths and truths and truths about my relatives, truths about friends, shady people, basically everybody who was shady, and that includes relatives, was just floating to the surface in an array of ways. Not just like, oh, you feel a little shady. No, it was like coming through like hardcore acts, hardcore verbalizations, hardcore physical manifestations, meaning shit that they would be doing would be some of the shadiest ish I've ever seen or heard from like all these people. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And that's kind of what happens when you start going through these processes. You start seeing like the truth. And in that, so hopefully that will help somebody out there, because I like making these videos because of selfish reasons, honestly. Selfish and non-selfish, let's put it like that. But I also have somewhere in here, in this heart situation, that I would like to help somebody, because if you're going through this, like I know that other side. I know both sides. I've heard it from his end, I've heard it from my end, and now ours, and meeting my twin flame. And so when you're on like one end or the other, like it helps to like find somebody who you resonate with, like something that really registers as like, yeah, that was helpful. I had a lot of that especially during that time. Like I may speak now like, oh, I don't agree and all this kind of stuff, but there was a point where a lot of stuff was really useful by a variety of people, a variety of channels, on YouTube especially, and articles and talking to people. Like there's been all kinds of help, and it really is useful when you're in this type of situation, and where a person is in that situation can be very, very varied, because sometimes you can be in a point of like, and name anything, and that can be, you can be in a point of like ecstasy, a point of like super happy, or the other sides of those things. You can be anywhere from A to Z, and in between each letter and every word that could be spelled with each one of those letters. Like that's how this situation is with twin flame. So I'm hoping that somebody hears some stuff and they're like, okay. I'm hoping that some people also get triggered to like wake up, you know what I'm saying? Because I think it'll be good for society for people to at least like mentally wake up. Sometimes that's not so hot. I thought that people just, woke up mentally and, everything is all like peachy. But that's not always true. But my hope is for a society where people don't feel like fucking with each other. They feel like being a good citizen. They feel like cleaning up after themselves and not littering. And they want to recycle. They want to see more of like the ethers. You know what I'm saying? Like have more of an understanding of like God and, space and the heavens and other galaxies and other places, and have that come back into their little earth space, and then think like, okay, well, I want to at least be a cool one here, while I'm here. That's also part of my agenda, but like part of my like, my hope. So, but I hope that this video kind of shed some light on and insight, into this situation. Yeah, kind of random, but I think somewhere in there's something useful. So on that note, I am going to go and go. So, yeah. Just check the hair real quick since there, kind of. All right, so, yeah, maybe TMI, but that's how it goes. Like, kind of like to summarize before I go, like, for people who aren't in that space of being like, they know that their twin is there, like, really, like, nurture that 5D part, you know what I'm saying? Like, write them letters, include them in your prayers. Even though they may be over here, like, kicking one of these, in the meanwhile, like, if you made a decision to be devoted to them, like, just be devoted to them, because everything else is going to just waste your time. Like, not to say that it won't be beneficial, like, in some way, you know what I'm saying, whatever way that may be, but, like, being devoted to somebody is a beautiful thing. Knowing that someone like that exists. So, all the little details and stuff, as far as like what your situation entails, like, it's all case sensitive, but, for the most part, you can do what you can. And if you feel like you need to go and do some other things, I don't know what those other things are. I've heard all kinds of stories, and I can't really comment on any of them, because, like, at face value, it just seems like really easy to understand, like, the entirety of a situation. But I'm sure in most cases, once you start, like, really looking inside of, like, the entirety of everything that's going on, it becomes so complex. Only the two people involved can really deal well with it. And that's one thing to kind of keep in mind, like, in YouTube and stuff like that, and other things. Like, no other situation is your own. And I've recently really been applying that, even with, like, good stories that I see, not only in twin flame situations, but, like, in all arenas of, like, love stories and all that kind of stuff. Cannot even try to compare or identify with something that is not us. Nothing, good or bad. Like, especially with good stuff, it's like I like media, like, I like content on YouTube. I like, all kinds of stuff, like entertainment, games, stories, dramas, all kinds of TV shows, characters, books, writing, it's a true story, fictional, or, documentary. I don't care if it's like a story about people or something, especially with people, like, I'm in. And so it's easy to, like, put yourself into, like, these character roles, and I have to, like, chill on that, because nobody is me and nobody is him. So nobody is us. So, yeah, it's been very useful. So I'm thankful for that. But on that note, I'm going to go, and I will see you next time. Bye.